Let's do a quick preview. Let's talk through some of the things that we're excited about in the schedule.
I'm definitely not scrolling through the talk list for the first time right now.
I'm excited that there's a bunch of talks about cost optimization. I think we all know the industry is in a bit of an interesting place right now where cost is really important. And, there's some really interesting talks about, doing very high scale things with a lot of cost optimization.
Looking forward to seeing everybody in October.
See you all at Demuxed.
I'm Matt, the organizer of the SF Video Technology Meetup and the Demuxed Conference.
And I'm Steve, creator of Video.js, the open source video player.
And I'm Phil, streaming specialist at Mux in London and organizer of the London Video Technology Meetup.
And you're listening to Demuxed, a podcast for and by engineers working with video.
Demuxed is brought to you by Heavybit, a program dedicated to helping startups take their developer products to market. For more information, visit heavybit.com.
We're always looking for topics, so if you have any suggestions or just want to tell us how wrong we are, you can find us on Twitter at Demuxed.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the year of the podcast, 2024. How many years has it been the year of podcast, Matt?
10-ish.
We've got a special episode today, a preview of Demuxed 2024, which kicks off in, let's date this podcast. When does it happen?
3 weeks.
Are you panicking?
No.
Hef, are you panicking?
No, you're panicking.
Calm, collected.
Very demure, very mindful.
Yes, that's exactly how I'd describe myself. Not waking up at 5 a.m. in panics about something I had no control over.
I texted you even morning when I woke up at 6 in complete panic.
And after Demuxed this year is when we're going to start recording a podcast every week. Right, guys?
Every week?
No? Okay. All right.
Just swing completely the opposite direction. It's one a year to one a week.
Yeah.
Why not go daily? Let's give a whole direction.
Let's stick to the 18-month cadence. Cool. So let's do a quick preview. Let's talk through some of the things that we're excited about in the schedule. We've got a newsletter that's going to come out here in a few days after this. So you might get the newsletter before this hits. So you get some commentary after. We can go over some logistics stuff around where things stand, what we're excited about. But where should we start, Steve and Phil?
Logistics, because that sounds the most fun.
You're right. Let's go with the logistics.
And then people can just fast forward through it and then move on.
Yeah. So the venue this year, I'm really excited about it. I know you've been wrestling with some AV stuff, Phil. Steve, I think you and I went to a show there, actually. But it's the Regency Ballroom here in San Francisco. Loved the venue last year. It was beautiful. Walking in the first day and then really understanding how bad those columns were going to be as we were setting up chairs was a rough. That was a moment. So excited that that's not going to be as much of a problem this year. We should have really... Phil is doing the Lord's work on some sightline things where I'm making sure that the video wall is far enough up so that people in the front rows can see everything. There aren't huge columns. It's a beautiful music venue, so it's a big open space with tons of room.
There's 100% less columns in this venue.
You probably shouldn't say 100%. I'm sure there's some columns, but
I don't think there is a single column in the ballroom. That's my hot take.
It's 100% less structural soundness is what you're saying.
It does have a balcony, which in retrospect is slightly concerning. It doesn't have columns, now I think about it.
That's exactly what I was saying. I was like, there's a balcony. Surely there's columns under the balcony.
I have the diagrams. There's no columns.
Well, it should be beautiful. There's the upstairs area. Then we're going to have a beautiful area downstairs for lunch. That's where sponsors will hang out, all that sort of stuff. Then there's this weird cult sacrifice room that I don't think we're going to use. That's in the third story. I don't really know what's going on there. I'll share pictures during my opening remarks.
What are the dates, Matt? We haven't actually said the dates yet. So do you want to start with the dates?
That minor detail. It's October 16th and 17th. That's back to a Wednesday and a Thursday this year, assuming that our venue doesn't abandon us like last year here in the final hours. But yeah, October 16th and 17th.
I had completely forgotten that our venue bailed last year.
Well,
it feels like so long ago.
Not bailed so much as just ceased to exist in a meta sense. So October 16th, 17th. For anybody that's interested, there's the HLS interest group down in Cupertino on Tuesday. And then FOMS, the Foundation of Open Media Standards and Streaming.
Standards and Software.
That's right.
FOMS.
FOMS. Steve plays a big part in that one.
You can remember what the acronym is, which is more than any of us can do. So
That's my role.
Just saying, you actually are able to make it to that. Phil and I are usually under duress and not at that particular event.
Yeah. I had an 11-year straight run of going to FOMS, no matter where it was in the world. And then I think I missed last year. And this year it's unfortunately on a holiday, which I know there's a lot of back and forth on why that had to be, with some of it having to do with where like Apple was okay holding the HLS, like which day they were okay holding that event on and stuff. So who knows? We may have a little bit more sparse attendance from the US crowd with the holiday that Monday, but we'll see. It's an amazing event.
FOMS is a better thing to do with your day off.
Yeah.
Why would people not want to spend their day off at FOMS?
I feel like a lot of people don't have that day off anymore.
I don't know what holiday it is. What holiday is it?
It's Columbus Day, or Indigenous People Day now.
Yeah, which, I don't know. Does Mux have it off?
Nope.
Okay, that's good to know for family planning.
Guess I'll be working then. Okay, great.
Then I'll be there. Well, I will say, like, FOMS is really great when it's big. If you're interested, you should go. But it's also great when it's small, because like the conversations there are intended to be small and impactful. And some of those sessions start to get a little bit too big, and the conversation just starts to become more of a presentation than a conversation. And so I don't know what we do with that, but like just calling it out, like, there's a perfect size in there somewhere.
That's a really good point. So this is why, if you follow the newsletter, you'll notice we've mentioned these events, but we never link directly to them. That's because if you're interested in this, you should seek it out and go. I'm not trying to gatekeep it at all, but it's not the conference. The conference is, people spend a lot of time on these talks. They get up there, present them. You see your friends from across the industry over 2 days. There's the hallway track. But in general, it's a sit-back experience and listen to other people's work. That is not what FOMS and HLS Interest Group are. Both of these are intended to be very conversational, back and forth. When you go to a breakout room, you're speaking, contributing when it makes sense. But it's not, it's an unconference with breakouts intended for participation. It's not like a traditional conference. So that's why we don't link to it directly. It's like we want people that are interested in that to go seek it out and participate. But you should know what you're getting into when you go. Like if you go there expecting presentations, that's not what you're going to get. And it's beautiful for that. But
I think I was like really surprised the first time I did it. I can't remember if I did it the year of the first time. I think was it 2015? Was there one on 2015? I think I went to 2015 and 16, which were both back-to-back of the conference. And yeah, the first time I went, it's like, I don't know what I was expecting, but it was great. It certainly wasn't what I was expecting, but also I have no idea what I was expecting. So
yeah, it's a gem in the industry, I think. I mean, and tons of like huge things have come out of it. Like, I think WebVTT was born out of
WebVTT,
EME, I believe, right?
EME, yep.
The general idea of media source extensions came out of that. So
I've watched a lot of old Demuxed talks recently, and one of them that I stumbled on was someone commenting, is a guy from Netflix, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, I drafted the original MSE after a FOMS, and I now realize everyone in the room hates me. So I was like, oh, well, maybe.
That was a hard one.
Actually, it might have been EME thinking about it. No, in fact,
it was EME. It was definitely EME, yeah.
I think it was a keynote of 2017, I feel. It was Mark Watson, wasn't it?
Mark Watson, yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. Well, looking at Demuxed itself, what are y'all excited about?
I'm excited about all of this artwork we're using and making that is all pixel art, because it's a nightmare to work with. No, it's great to work with. And every time I have to design something this year, I'm like, no, I'm loving this design, by the way.
Wait, what are you designing? What are we letting you design?
Wouldn't you like to know, Hef? Wouldn't you like to know what I'm designing?
Bill's got an eye.
Yeah, it's not a good eye.
I mean, generally, so yes, I am excited about the design. I love that Dar spent all this time making the windows resizable.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Every time I stumble on something, I'm like, my favorite part was I like dragged all the windows around, put them at like completely different pieces in the page, refresh the page, and they stayed there. I was like, oh no! So now every time I click the anchor links at the top, it doesn't take me to the right bits anymore.
That is the definition of hoisted by your own petard. Fantastic.
I think we save that stuff.
But yeah, generally, I mean, this was the most submissions we've ever gotten. I think we had close to 190 submissions this year, which meant we were only able to accept like 13 or 14% of the talks, something crazy like that.
Including the 0% of my talks, my 5 submissions.
Your top submission being that Phil and I were going to dress up in cat outfits and box each other.
Hey, that was a gem.
It got surprisingly well reviewed.
See? The audience has spoken.
We should see if we could chat GPT that one. That would be kind of fun. That would be our AI submission this year. But it did, I did feel bad because there really were Hess talks included, like fantastic talks that were in there, like above the review fold, that we just had to make a ton of really tough decisions around, which was brutal.
It's made harder by, part of how we go through this is obviously we categorize everything first, and then we kind of try and work our way through the categories, picking like the top rated talks from those categories. So like it can get really hard when you have 2 superb talks on SGAI, but we only have a 2-day conference, right? It's incredibly difficult to make sure that we want to make sure we cover a wide range of topics. And then suddenly when you've got like 2 talks that are very close to each other in content, like often with, both presenters who are very qualified and often like people writing the specs or working on the standards, it's like incredibly difficult to then have to ultimately only pick, one of those.
Yeah.
Really hard. There are great talks that just don't get picked because there's something for some reason that's got a, maybe a slightly different angle or a slightly different approach that got a little bit better reviewed.
From the talks that did make it through, I mean, highlights that I'm excited about. I mean, I'm close to them. I kind of know a little bit more about them. Recused ourselves from the selection of these for the most part, but I am excited about the Mux talks. I think Walker gave an amazing presentation back in 2022, right?
Yes, 2022. Yeah.
On the audio drift and browser-based video stuff. So his on PSSH, he's been working hard on DRM. So I've been seeing some of that behind the scenes. I think that's going to be great.
I'm excited because the SF video, shortened version of that talk was already superb. So I'm pumped for a long version of that talk.
I'm excited to see John finally. He's had a beef with Strobe's quality talk from 2018. Strobe, just so you know, if you're listening to this, you've lived rent free in John's head for 5 years because of that talk. 6 years.
This is John Dahl, the CEO of Mux.
John Dahl, the CEO of Mux. And so he's rebuffing Strobe's quality talk.
Does Strobe even care about us anymore? He's definitely not listening to this.
He loves us. Back off. And he's speaking again, which I'm very excited about. I think last year might have been the first year he hadn't given a talk in a long time. And so I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that he's back. What about y'all? What are you excited about? What talks?
It's weird, but and I think this reflects a little bit of how the industry is right now. I'm excited that there's a bunch of talks about cost optimization. This sounds quite depressing to say, but I think we all know the industry is in a bit of an interesting place right now where cost is really important, and we've obviously gone through a challenging period across not only video but also tech around layoffs and how the industry is changing. But there's some really interesting talks about doing very high scale things with a lot of cost optimization. So I think one of the first talks, if memory serves, is on cost optimization as well. And there's a couple in there. Oh yeah, it's Tao Shi talking about how Vimeo kind of cost optimize their storage, and I'm actually really looking forward to those as well.
Yeah, there's a great Meta and Vimeo both talking about cost optimizations. That's gonna be great.
I'm definitely not scrolling through the talk list for the first time right now.
That was the exact thing I said to Matt. I was like, does Hev know what talks we've got this year?
Definitely did not.
We just get fresh eyes on the schedule right now.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for the first talk, which is Alex Field, the color truth of automated tests, and then the second talk, Walker's. Maybe also the third talk. Yeah. No, I do see one in here. We've done a lot of talking around short form video and user generated content recently. So the fifth talk is free ABR renditions for user-generated content platforms. That piqued my interest.
Another potentially cost-related one. Also, I wanted to get more space on my browser, so I resized the window there and made the talks a little bit bigger.
See, not only cool, but useful. Practical, even. I'm also weirdly excited about Vanessa and Derek's talk on contributing to FFmpeg.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, personally, it's funny because it's one of those things where it's like, I know many of the contributors really well at this point. I consider them friends.
Yeah.
It's software that I use all the time. And at the same time, like, the thought of contributing into it just feels like scary. I don't know.
Intimidating.
Yeah. Like, just completely impossible. And Vanessa's, she's such a great speaker in general. And Derek too. So I'm excited to see how that one shakes out.
What was the most popular topic? I've already dropped it earlier in this recording, but what was the most popular submitted topic this year?
Was it cost?
No, it's SGAI, apparently.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
We had a lot of SGAI talk submissions.
Lots of SGAI.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a hot topic at IBC too.
It feels crazy to me.
It's in a lot of the booths.
Have we really solved everything else?
It's come full circle. We're back to ads again. Remember?
Well, I mean, if you recall Derek's talk from last year, he basically, was it last year, 2 years ago, where he's basically like, next-gen codecs are dead. Have we solved the problems we need to solve there? Or is future efficiency just wringing more out of them? And like, are we just reaching diminishing returns? Adam Brown has this theory that sounds so dystopian and awful. I really hope this doesn't actually happen. He's like, the video codec of the future is that you'll just send somebody a prompt and then they'll like render it on their end from the prompt.
That was one of the lightning talks last year, wasn't it? The idea was, yes, take the video, summarize it into a prompt, and then give the prompt back to like video generations.
Oh God, last year was a blur for me given the illness. I really hope.
Oh, are we going to talk about how sick Matt was at Demuxed last year?
For those of you that don't know, I was just horrifically ill on the night before the conference.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. Like, I think we were like walking to the speakers dinner. I was like, oh yeah, man, I don't feel too good. I'm feeling pretty ropey here. And then within like 20 minutes, like Matt's just gone.
I had to do like a thanks for coming to the speaker dinner. I really appreciate you. Okay, I need to go do more work. Bye. And then like stuck my head in a trash can on freaking Market Street, which is awful. Don't suggest that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Not to get too graphic in here, but they showed up the next morning glistening, gave the opening remarks, and then went home to avoid getting everybody else sick.
By the way, if anyone was wondering, that was why you got me for the entire first day of Demuxed last year. It was not planned in any way, shape, or form.
You did great, though.
I was going through the photos the other day as well, and there's just so many photos of me just like, there's a photo of me, for some reason I've got like my arms out like this, like really wide. This video is cropped in a weird way. My arms like out really wide, and like Victoria's just looking at me like, like, it's like I'm gesturing like I caught a fish, like a huge fish. I swear it was this big. Victoria's like looking really dubious.
Well, hopefully this year we'll do a very normal switch back and forth as in past years.
That would be lovely. I'm trying to work out who I'm going to rope in to do lightning talks this year. We could take applications if you listen to this podcast and want to be involved in lightning talks.
Ooh, that reminds me of other things that we could use for this year. We have a bunch of great, really excellent sponsors this year. But what we don't have yet is a party sponsor. So currently there's no beer. That would be such a bummer if that really were to happen.
Can you imagine a party with no beer?
We'll have refreshments and food, but it'd be great if we had a party sponsor.
Right now it'll be a 6-pack of Bud Light, and if you sponsor it, it could be 12-pack of Modelo.
Yeah, there you go. We'll just pour a little bit. Yep, we'll use like communion cups, and everybody will get like just a little glass. But, the event overall happens because of the generosity of a bunch of our sponsors. Platinum this year is AWS. At Gold, we've got Vimeo and CDN77. Silver, it's Akamai, Fastly, Axonom, and Netflix. And then at the bronze level, we got Philo, Visionular, Paramount, Hydraulics, and Wowza, which is a great run. Oh, and then like Mux pays the three of us, which is pretty helpful for our lives.
You guys are getting paid.
And Victoria, obviously, who does a bunch of work, and a bunch of the other volunteers, other folks. So it's a stacked sponsor list. I'm really excited. We still have a few other sponsorships if you want to jump in. Nothing in person with a booth other than like the party sponsorship.
The party, you can do anything you want. Like brand it however you want. Like if you want to bring an elephant, actually that's probably not a good idea. The elevators in the building are pretty scary. If you wanted to bring, I don't know, a llama, like fully branded with your logo on it, you could do that.
Yes.
How much is this party sponsorship?
I think it's like 18,000.
18K. Oh, I was going to say maybe a web component party. But no, web components can't afford that.
Hef's got to the point where his talks don't make it in, so he just sponsors a party.
Yeah, that's right. There's going to be a blimp outside.
Now is the time to rewrite your player with web components.
The other one to call out, this is not a sponsorship, you can just do it. But for the Wednesday night, first night of the conference, a bunch of companies will host like happy hours that night. So you just let us know that you're hosting one, where it's going to be, what the times are, give us a link if you want people to RSVP, and then you can host your own happy hour where we announce it in the attendee information going into the conference, the first day of the conference. All of them usually pack out. It's a ton of fun. So it's open. You know, sponsors can do it, non-sponsors can do it, whoever else. I know we're hosting a party. Mux is hosting a party along with Hydraulics and AWS. I think we're like co-sponsoring a party, so that one will be one of them, and then there will be others. I don't know what the others are yet, but it could be you.
I'm rearranging the sponsors order on the webpage now because I can.
Ooh, I'm going to resize it. Well, I was hoping that we would at least like do a quick preview, post view of the newsletter content. I don't think there's much there. You'll get some Demuxed news, some of the stuff we talked about already, the Montevideo summer camp details, all that sort of stuff.
I'm going.
You're going. Steve's going. Hell yeah.
I'm going to Montevideo summer camp.
Nice.
Come hang out. I'm dragging my whole family down there at this point now. So,
and then there will be some fun links from this time around. We've got stuff like Blue Sky, the I can't believe it's not Twitter added native video support, which is sweet, which means I should probably let my bsky.video domain lapse.
That was hopeful. I was very hopeful.
That I had grand plans for and then never actually did. The open source Winamp, this is a stretch, but like the open source or the source code for Winamp, that's kind of cool.
Okay. Are we all following on with the drama on that?
No.
Because it's been superb. So there's been a lot of drama about that. So we're going to go into it now because I've been loving this one. Have you guys just not read Hacker News for the last 24 hours or something? Okay.
I mean, I saw the link and I was like, ooh, cool, source code.
So first one that I saw was the license explicitly forbids forking of the repository.
interesting.
But the EULA for any public repo on GitHub means you are explicitly granting a license for anyone to fork, modify, etc. So like the license they wrote just for Winamp, just for this open source release, this dead software, is fundamentally incompatible with the EULA for GitHub. So that's number one. The second one I think is, they published some proprietary Dolby code in there. Like they hadn't gone through and swept stuff up and like,
Nice.
yeah, that's so good. And the biggest drama of all of it is like whenever things like this are raised on the GitHub, someone just comes in like, okay, I've deleted the code, and like, no attempt to like rewrite history on the repository or anything like that. So you can just navigate back and get it all back anyway. So, there's a lot of drama. If you go on the issues of it, it's interesting.
Okay, well, you're writing the blurb for that one, just so you know.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, looking forward to seeing everybody in October. And we promise we'll try and do more of these podcasts other than just previews once a year.
See you all Demuxed.
See y'all soon. Bye-bye.
That's all we have for today, but as always, we'd love to hear what you thought, even if you disagree, so please reach out on Twitter @Demuxed.
To learn more about Heavybit, visit heavybit.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out their library. It's packed with amazing talks on sales, marketing, product, and general management from founders of developer tools companies and other industry leaders.